Kindness, kinship. Love. So what do I sacrifice? Everything!
So, it's time. I don't think a BrickVault build has ever been this highly anticipated. And I get it, this, as you may know if you clicked on this video, is Luthen Rael's Fondor Haulcraft from everyone's favorite Star Wars show, Andor. It's probably one of the coolest ships we have seen in any Star Wars media in the recent years, so it became a fan favorite immediately. The antique dealer and spy master Luthen Rael owns this ship and equipped it with countless hidden weaponry that we will come to in a few minutes here. The scene where we see this ship in action in Andor is one of the coolest battle scenes ever in Star Wars, I think. So is the Lego build in front of me. This model was designed by Marshal Banana, who is also responsible for the UCCS Minifig scale Millennium Falcon on BrickVault, as well as the Slave 1's Sandcrawler DL-44 blaster and the original Tiderium. So you know we're off to something good. Marshal is a master at his craft. Since the release of the pre-sale for the instructions for this build, which are now available right away when you make a purchase, by the way, link in the video description below, I have received hundreds of messages, emails and comments over the course of 2 months asking for a release date, more images or a preliminary parts list. There hasn't been a day where there wasn't a message about this MOC, so I'm incredibly happy to finally show you guys all the amazing details and features of this ship. Admittedly, this was a long pre-sale, there was definitely more fixing to do than we'd hoped, so sorry to everyone who had to wait so long for the instructions. We will keep this in mind for the next pre-sale. The instructions for this model include Luthen's speeder bike as well. Of course it holds a minifig, actually pretty cool. The legs fit between this hinge piece. The design is pretty cool. But let's not waste any more time and get straight to it. Hard facts first, this model has 7,360 pieces with the stand and speeder, and the parts will run you roughly 900 to 1000 USD on BrickLink. That's quite a lot, but it's also quite a big ship. It's 60 centimeters long or 23.5 inches, 48 centimeters wide or 19 inches, and on the stand it's 27 centimeters tall or 10.5 inches, or 13 centimeters on the landing gear or 5 inches. So you get a better idea of the size, here is a SpongeBob painting next to it. Let's go about it the other way around of how I usually start a review. First things first, the display value of the ship on its stand is a 10 out of 10. I can't ask for anything better than this. The stand has it leaned upwards ever so slightly, looking like it's about to take off into space from a spaceport or so. The ship is resting on a long lift arm that gets inserted quite deeply into the innards of the ship, so it's super sturdy on it too. But you can also take it off the stand, we'll come to that in a bit. This ship has a very dense main body with 2 wing-like appendages that also double as additional thrusters. The wings as well as the whole ship basically are almost completely studless, and the amount of detail Marshal was able to integrate this way is astonishing. There's a lot of cool color blocking with slopes lining up against each other, some dark tan for a used look, modified bricks for greebling and metallic silver parts to give off a rough idea of how this ship would have looked like fresh from the factory. You can immediately tell every bit of detail and texture was intentionally placed. At the very tip of the wings is what I believe is weaponry. On the main ship the panels are placed at different angles, yet they line up almost perfectly without leaving any gaps at all. I'm sure this would have taken days of pure work to perfect and minimize all the panel gaps. The big main thruster in the back is made up of 2 sub-assemblies undersides facing each other, and you can see there is white glowing through in the middle and light blue to the sides, which is a detail that not many LEGO spaceships have, but similar to how light or glow behaves with lightsabers, this too has the hottest part be the brightest and it fades out to the sides. I absolutely love the venting detail in the back here. Further up you can see even more details like the gun port here. At the front you can see that the paneling splits open to reveal the trademark greebling that I guess every Star Wars ship needs. I love how this is so deeply integrated into this panel, gives it a lot of depth and believability. You can even spot a large hole and a smaller one next to it with even more detail in them. The panels again have tons of details like these holes in the plating from enemy fire. I will also always point out the use of the container door pieces for added detail. On the other side we have the long cylindrical cockpit section. It's a subtle detail, but in the middle are a few roller skate parts and old telephone pieces integrated for that extra bit of detail. You can already see inside the cockpit through the windscreen. We will also come to that when we move to the interior, because yes, this actually has quite a bit of interior space. The dark grey and black section up at the front is broken up by silver and dark orange details. This section looks exceptionally well to me. I'm a huge fan of the way Marshal was able to fit this light grey shell around it so perfectly. This silver dish piece is actually not what I expected, pretty unusual parts usage. This round part right here is actually a helmet. Speaking of greebling, this model is finished all the way around. The sides are filled with detail bits in classic Millennium Falcon sandwich style, lots of different types of bars and clips. We get some ski pieces and binoculars here as well. On the other side we have the docking ring that uses relatively new pieces to very good effect. I love the look of this docking ring, and the grey windscreen piece above it nicely frames this assembly. Usually with ship builds, at least on BrickVault, all builds are nicely finished on the underside as well, but most of the time you can tell it's the underside by just a few anti-studs or exposed Technic elements, but this model in front of me is completely covered up from underneath as well. If you don't know the ship and I flip over the build, you probably couldn't tell it doesn't belong that way. It's so good. Not one singular anti-stud or even unintentional stud showing underneath. It's pretty amazing how much effort went into this model as a whole. Now let's move over to all the functions, of which there are actually quite a few, getting back to this cool venting detail. If you're an attentive person, you of course already know this is not just some regular venting detail. This assembly can be folded out to reveal the missile launcher that we see in the show. It's a super smooth function, works 10 out of 10 times. You even get a little handle to this with these plates with whales. Super cool function in universe, but also in this Lego model. Also, the wings have a cool party trick to them too. They can be folded out a little to reveal this small cheese slope, and when you fold down a little flap on the other side and push on said slope, you activate a light brick inside, mimicking the laser weapon. I have to say this surprised me quite a bit during the build, but this is such a cool touch. Of course you have it on both sides, but to be transparent with you, in the show we see the wings fold out completely to reveal this laser. If you do that here, it blocks the laser, which is technically inaccurate, but it's not that deep honestly. Just don't fold them out completely. Still, what a fun feature. The wings technically can also fold a little more than necessary. They are on additional rigid joints that I believe are only there for the sake of connecting the assembly, but I did want to point that out. Now there's also more to this regular gun port on top. This round bit can be switched out for a turret that comes with this MOC. It attaches to a little carrying handle that is deeply integrated into the core of the ship, so it's extremely sturdy and secure to grab. But you may want to put one hand under the belly, because this is not the center of gravity here, obviously, so it will lean forward a lot. It's just here to make transporting the ship a lot easier for you. But another reason to use this handle is to put this in the landed position. This ship has 3-point landings, so in the back we have these humps here, where you can fold out the landing gear. And in the front we have a singular landing strut. Now when placing it on the ground, make sure to not move it around on the landing gear. The front one can fold away fairly easily. For Marshal's build, this wasn't as much of a problem as in mine, so maybe the parts condition is the reason, but I found folding the foot back creates a much sturdier landing position. Now on one side we get an entrance ramp that can fold down and gives Luthen access to the interior. Us bigger folks need to circle back to the removable top plates for access, of which there are plenty. The ramp leads to the first room, which is Luthen's hidden wardrobe or fitting room. It has Luthen's hair and clothes for when he's undercover as an antiques dealer, and this silver round tile is supposed to be his mirror to check his appearance. We also get a printed tile here. Moving through the interior, the next room is this walkway. We get a few printed pieces here as well as the doorways in dark orange with this metal pattern on the floor. I love that look. From here we're moving into the cockpit, where we can find a couple of shelves as well as quite a few more printed pieces and controls. The seat looks comfy and the controls are actually really accurate to what we see in the show, with 2 handles and a display in front of the pilot. We also get this round printed tile facing the pilot. That is the droid belonging to this ship, similar to Siri in your iPhone maybe. We see it talk to Luthen in the show. Now back in the hallway we have a rather big room with a lot of floor space. You can see this leads to a simulated door that would probably lead to the back of the ship. Luthen has a lot of shelf space in his ship, which seems accurate for an antiques expert. And here's also a ladder leading up to the bed. A fun thing you don't expect is that this is a false floor that is completely removable. You actually build this at the very beginning of the instructions, and it's basically some technical components with this hose, and we have a couple of thermal detonators and some credits. I love small details like these. The next room is for storage. We get some crates and antiques with these figurines, some technical detail over here as well. There are some more below this panel that you can discover while building. In the back there are technically only 2 panels that can be removed, but with a little bit of wiggle the middle one can come off too to reveal yet even more interior space. Mostly storage for crates and antiques like a Mandalorian helmet, a couple of other helmets. In the middle is a control console with printed pieces and a few more rarities being stored here. It was very cool seeing all these different pieces getting used for detail in here. And the other room is yet another storage space with swords and a fossil and a couple of containers here. So you see, there's so much to discover in this interior, it's pretty crazy, and I think this might be the most detail-packed interior of any BrickVault MOC besides maybe the Falcons. It's pretty insane. Putting all the panels back on, you gotta be a little mindful while doing so. They do have their respective spaces that they fit in, but specifically the cockpit panels need a bit of wiggle to fully fit. The whole model feels really solid, it has quite some weight to it, actually a lot more than I expected, but it also has a very solid frame inside, plus a full interior which surely adds to the weight. It's definitely swooshable if you know how to handle it. I recommend always using the handle on top and one hand below the belly. Of course, don't press in on any of the panels underneath or above for that matter. It's super fun to fly around. Take a quick look at Luthen in the cockpit, looks really cozy in there. The wings do tend to wobble a bit, that's unavoidable with the way they are designed in universe. I think even if they were made out of metal they would wobble. The panels on top are not connected, so the panels on the sides at the front mainly can come off if you're not cautious. The building experience was really nice, really straightforward, although I ran into a few issues during the build, which have now been fixed of course, but that explains the delay for the release. Only maybe the paneling can get a little repetitive and tedious, but the ship is pretty asymmetrical, so it was pretty refreshing building. Overall, this is an extremely intricately designed model and definitely one of the coolest ships we have on BrickVault. A centerpiece for any Star Wars MOC collection and Andor fan, and I'm proud to finally have this in my collection. I'm a huge fan of freighters in the Star Wars universe, probably among my favorite kind of ships, and this basically being a freighter that got heavily modified by Luthen makes it even cooler to me. This would look absolutely incredible in a spaceport MOC with other freighters similar to what we see in the Mandalorian for example, and I can't wait to see other freighters in a similar build style next to it. And now, all that's left for me is to give a big thank you to Marshal Banana for designing this beauty of a Lego build and trusting us with the distribution of his work. I'm always thankful for being able to do this as my job, it's pretty crazy. Also a big thank you goes out to you for your continued support and for watching the review. I know this has been anticipated and I hope I showed you everything you wanted to see. If it's not too much of a hassle for you, feel free to leave a like on this video, that would mean the world to me. Go share it around with your friends and let me know your favorite detail in the comment section below. Mine is probably the whole cockpit section or the missile launcher at the back, but honestly there's too many cool stuff to just name one thing. Thanks for sticking until the end. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video here at BrickVault.